Hello and welcome to Level Fish's 101 channel. Today I'm going to be doing a care sheet on goldfish. There are so many misconceptions about them that I think that a lot of people think, oh, let's just get a little bowl and get some goldfish and shove it in there. And obviously this is cruel, and so many of them die so young, and it's so unnecessary if people just did their research. So I thought I'd do a care sheet, as goldfish are the most commonly brought fish. And everyone thinks they're starter fish, however I feel they are sort of intermediate fish. I think they're quite hard to look after. Okay, so as I said before, goldfish die so young, and it can be severe health issues that they die of due to things like poor water conditions in a small tank or a bowl. Unfortunately, they produce a large amount of waste, especially when their metabolic rate is increased. Things like water changes and gravel vacuums will be your best friend if you're keeping goldfish, and this will keep them healthy and fit. They are not designed to stay in small bowls, so they get very big. Full grown, they can be 8 to 10 inches. Things like the common sort of variety can be up to 20 inches, depending on obviously the type. A general guideline I use for fancy fat body types should be about 20 gallons for the first, plus an extra 10 to 15 per fish in the tank after that, and I recommend double that for common and shebunkin types. This doesn't mean that if you have a spare 15-gallon tank you can use it for goldfish per se. So because they are very, very social creatures, which again a lot of people don't realise, and because a lot of people at the shop don't know much and they will say, oh, they're fine on their own, you should never keep one in isolation. They're more likely to die and get a lot of health complications. They will thrive though if they are with company. Minimum tank size for goldfish, in my opinion, would be 25 to 30 gallons. I'd say about 30 if you're getting a pair, and I'd say about 50 for a common pair, because you will need at least a pair. I recommend at least a trio, to be honest, but obviously again it's up to you. The bigger the tank, always the better, and just because you can fit a fish in the tank doesn't mean it'll be able to swim properly. It doesn't mean it will have the space to move and to use its muscles. Rectangular tanks, always better. They provide a larger space, which means they have a larger water surface, which means more oxygen can get in. And goldfish have a very high oxygen requirement. Yet another reason why bowls are completely unsuitable for them. Overall, bigger tank you can get, the happier, healthier, and longer fish the longer your fish will live. They have been known to live up to 40 years. However, 15 to 20 years is much more likely, and that's an average age for them. Obviously, again, if they've got proper filtration, aeration, tank mates, then they can live over that. They have amazing personalities and such a good memory. The whole, 10-second memory for goldfish is just a myth, along with so many other things. And everyone seems to see them as these really stupid fish, but they're so intelligent. They can even be taught to do simple tricks for food. Here's some common types of goldfish. So firstly, I'm going to go on to the fancy sort of type. These are quite slow. Things like the Blackmore telescope, I think that's another name for it, I'm not sure. Fantails, orandas, pom-poms, because, yeah, very fancy type of goldfish can be very, very slow swimmers. Things like the lionhead, the celestial, and the bubble eyes, they're very slow. On to common, or the sort of pond types of goldfish, which can be very fast, very, very fast, and very strong swimmers. Comet goldfish, comet goldfish, the common and the shebunkin. It is advised not to mix the commons with the fancies, and especially not the very fancies with the goldfish, the common. And there's a few main reasons, mainly because competition for food. The common will generally be faster than the fancies, and definitely faster than the very fancy ones. They won't be able to see food as well, the ones with the bubble eyes and the eye growths, because their eyesight is not fabulous, obviously due to that, although most fish haven't got the best eyesight. Also, when spawning, the male common-shaped goldfish, if it mates with a fancy, it will easily outswim a female fancy goldfish and will push her to the point where she'll die of exhaustion. On to sexing. The males can be sexed from the females by means of breeding dots on their gill covers. It's not always visible, even in spawning mode it can vary. They have always got them, the males, however sometimes it can be hard to see. And also by venting. Venting is looking at the fish's vents, where they poop and where the females expel eggs from. Nice. The males should be very flat, and the females can have like tiny little bumps. As your goldfish, as you get more experience with goldfish, it will definitely become easier for you to sex them via the vents. Fancy goldfish, much more suited to the aquariums than goldfish, the common ones, mainly because of the adult size. I recommend the common or the comet ones for 75 to 100 gallons, or the ponds I have 1,500 gallon with a lot of goldfish in. I have mostly comet. So obviously there are a lot of things that affect their size. So if, say, a comet goldfish's mum and dad are quite small, they're going to be quite small. Although it's hard to tell who their mum and dad are. Also, filtration, extremely important, as I said earlier. They have a reputation for being very messy compared to tropical fish. Obviously this isn't always true, because things like plecos and chilids, especially large chilids, are very messy fish. I aim for a turnover rate of 4 to 5 times the water volume. Each goldfish owner will tell you maybe to do more. Some will tell you to do less than that. Again, it's up to them. A few more things. The diet, very important, especially for the fancy type. Fancy goldfish are prone to buoyancy issues. That's swim bladder, due to their internal organs being so cramped up because they are inbred, so they get deformed bodies. Floating food should be avoided at all costs. Although a lot of pet shops would recommend those, definitely do not get them. I recommend quality sinking pellets. They're by far the best option. That's what I use, and I think the results are amazing. Another reason why not to use flake foods is they lose their goodness very quickly, especially on contact with water. So even if you put the flakes under the water to stop them from floating, they have very little, if not any, nutritional value compared to pellet foods, which they can hold in. Another option, some people use gel foods. I've never used these, but obviously, again, it's up to you. Goldfish also need a lot of greens in their diet, either by the means of live plants, which they can nibble off, or by adding foods to the tank a couple of times a week. Goldfish adore shelled peas, broccoli. If they get peas at least twice a week, they're more likely to push out trapped gases in their intestinal tracts, which can create floaty problems from bladder and death. I know when you feed them peas, they do get bright green poops the next day, which do occasionally have gas bubbles trapped in. Variety in their diet. Always remember, this will do them good. Always remember to variety. I can't remember the word. I'm sorry. Oh, that's it. Vary their diet. Sorry about that. With fancy goldfish, especially, tank decoration definitely something to consider and put a lot of thought into. Any ornaments which they can swim into and get trapped should be removed. Any ornaments or plants which are sharp they can easily get injured on, these should be removed. A fish with the eye bubbles, if they do get caught on them, they will pop. Usually the wound will heal up, but they won't look as nice and it will be very painful for them. It can also become infected with the sort of open wound. Fish with the protruding eyes, such as black moor and a few of those, they can actually be blinded if you know, but if there is a rough edge and it goes into the eye, they will be blinded. Although they don't have good eyesight, as they are such slow swimmers, it really helps them as an advantage. Silk plants, I think, are best if you are using fake. I wouldn't recommend plastic. Also, if you are going to use driftwood, it needs to be well rounded off, so if there are any sharp edges, they're all gone. Lastly, when you do go to buy your fish, check over the general appearance, make sure there's no cloudy eyes, make sure the gills are healthy, there's no fin rot, you know, fungus, itch, ick or anything. And the behaviour of the fish. Enjoy.